I'm filming the images in this review on a Sony a7S with a Metabonds adapter. The Canon EF 40mm f2.8 STM is designed to cover a full frame sensor, and I will review it as a full frame lens. For APS-C users, I would recommend the Canon EF's 24mm f2.8 STM, which I have already reviewed and is an excellent lens at a bargain price. This 40mm pancake lens cost me £111 from eBay, which is a grey import from Australia. By buying a grey import, I saved around £69. The only thing you lose by buying a grey import is a UK warranty, but it can only give you a 1 year warranty, so I think it's worth the risk. The lens comes with front and rear caps but no lens hood. The ES52 lens hood from Canon cost me £18.99. The 40mm focal length is not wide nor telephoto. In my view, 40mm is an ideal walkabout lens, which means this lens is perfect for travel, portraits and street photography. The f2.8 aperture lets in plenty of light, so this lens would be ideal for low light image making. This lens does not feature image stabilisation, and I'm not surprised with this lens being so small. The lens is made in Malaysia, so don't expect a Canon L-grade build, and the lens is not weather sealed. The lens mount is metal, but the rest of the lens is made from a high quality plastic. I have no issues with the build quality, and the lens feels solid. Being a pancake lens means it's small and lightweight at only 130 grams. The filter diameter is 52mm, and the filter threads are made out of plastic. This Canon 40mm is a focus by wire lens. There is no mechanical connection between the focus ring and the lens's mechanics. You can only manually focus the lens when the camera is turned on, because focus by wire lenses need power to function. The lens features an autofocus or manual switch, but you can turn the focus ring at any time. The focus ring turns smoothly, but one thing to note is that the STM motor makes some noise. You can hear a whirring sound when the focus ring is turned. The front element extends when focusing, but it doesn't rotate, so you can use a rotatable filter. Unfortunately, this lens suffers from extreme focus breathing. It actually looks like a zoom lens when it's focusing. Autofocus is not a strong point of adapted lenses, so I use this combo of manual focus only. If you're a filmmaker, you should be using manual focus anyway. No filmmaker that I follow uses autofocus. So how is the image quality of the Canon 40mm STM? Unfortunately, I do not own a high resolution full frame camera, and I can only test this on my 12 megapixel full frame Sony a7S. At f2.8 and in the centre, the lens is very sharp with good contrast. The corners look a tad softer and show a little chromatic aberration, but it's still a great performance. I would be more than happy to film at f2.8 with this lens. Stopped down to f4 and the corners have improved quite a bit, with better contrast and more resolution. The chromatic aberrations on contrasting edges look less pronounced now. The centre of the image shows more resolution too. Stop down to f5.6 and we now have near perfect image quality, both in the centre and in the corners. This is a very sharp little lens. At f8, I see a slight improvement in the corners, but the chromatic aberrations remain. At f11, the extreme corners look a little bit sharper and the centre looks great. At f13, diffraction sets in and the image looks a tiny bit softer. I must say that this is a very good performance from such a low cost lens. Lens charts are one thing, but in real world images, I find this lens to be sharp enough and perfectly usable at f2.8. Now for distortion and vignetting. The lens shows a very small amount of barrel distortion, which looks fine to my eyes. At f2.8 the corners look a little dark, but step down to f4 for brighter corners, and at f5.6 the vignette goes away. The minimum focus distance is 30cm, so you can get close to your subject. When shooting into the sun, you can see some veiling, but the flare doesn't look too bad in my opinion. The 7 iris blades create 14-point sun stars, but you need to shoot at f11 or smaller to see them. You can also get some funky flares with this lens, which can add some character to your shots. Now for bokeh. The f2.8 aperture lets in a fair amount of light, and you can get a good amount of background separation if you are close enough to your subject. The rendition of the out of focus backgrounds is generally very attractive, with a smooth natural look. The bokeh balls do have a little colour fringing and busyness upon close inspection. Towards the edge of the frame you will see some oval or cat's eye bokeh. So to conclude, this is another fantastic lens from Canon. The 40mm STM is an ultra useful lens that covers a full frame sensor at a bargain price. Yes, it's a plastic lens, but the build quality, small size, lightweight and price is great. I find the images in this lens to be perfectly usable when shot wide open, or stop down to f5.6 for razor sharp image quality. Sony don't have a pancake lens that covers a full frame sensor, but the Sony Zeiss FE 35mm f2.8 ZA comes close. This Sony lens is a little lighter at 120 grams, but is physically larger and costs a whopping £645 from Amazon. I have not tested this lens, but according to DxOMark, this size Sony lens is a little sharper and has slightly better light transmission with less chromatic aberration than the Canon. The Canon lens does have far less distortion though. One more option is the Canon 50mm f1.8 STM, which I've already reviewed. If I had to choose between these two lenses, I would say buy them both, because they are both great lenses that cost very little compared to the competition. So if you're after a full frame lens which has great optical quality, is small and lightweight and doesn't cost a small fortune, then this Canon lens might be the perfect option. The Canon 40mm f2.8 STM comes highly recommended. Thanks for watching.